Hey there, Justice 3 Gaming, and welcome back to another daily dose of Marvel Strike Force. I gotta get my big light on so you can see my pretty face. And I am here today. We're going to do something a little bit different. I am going to talk to you about Omega Red and the truth about Omega Red, because a lot of the other guys out there are going, it's a Heroes for Hire counter, Heroes for Hire counter. I'm here to tell you right now it's 100% not true. Okay. Um, the reason why I tell you this is because they've already done this before with the Sinister Six. So you need to be careful. So buyer beware, or people who are thinking about purchasing. Although I will say, on a side note, this is probably going to be the most powerful character in the game. So if you are interested in paying into it, this might be a good time to actually do so. And I'm going to explain to you why. I'm just not going to blow smoke up your booty today. Um, we're going to go over his kit and things like that. And let me just explain to you why I believe that this isn't directly a Heroes for Hire counter. Now, it, now I'm not going to say that they can't do it, because it's obvious just by looking at the kit that it's very, very possible you could do this. But you need to be very, very careful and very specific about this specific team that's coming into the game, because they've already done this before with the Sinister Six with Dr. Octavius. Now, if you guys have been playing a while and you've been playing in War, you know how difficult that man can be on the battlefield. And what they have done here with Omega Red is they took some of the best stuff from a lot of the top characters in the game and they put him on steroids. And that's why I believe he's going to be one of the highest valued characters in the game. So if you were thinking about pushing hard and maybe even putting a few dollars into this grab, I highly recommend that this is the character you do it on. And so let's go. One of the most important things when we're going through the kit is to understand the wording on what they're doing here, and that's very, very important. The reason being is that it's all dependent on what you see. All right, let's see if I can get. Yeah, there we go. I want you to be able to see everything that's on there. Oh, and this is my battle screen. So you just ignore the button area underneath my screen. I'll make a dedicated screen for this one. But point being is that in the wording in probably all the characters that are going to be coming out for Weapon X, I can only speak to Omega Red as of right now. It's the word in war. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean on MSF.gg. I do highly recommend signing up, being a part of this site, because it's an excellent resource for you to be able to check out your game, organize things, help your alliance, all kinds of good stuff here. I am not an ambassador for these guys whatsoever. I just think they did an amazing job on this site and allows players who love the game to enjoy it even more. So if we look at Dr. Octavius's kit right now, and maybe I can actually minimize this and move it into a more usable area for you. To my center screen. Does that work? No. I was hoping I could do that, but I guess not. All right, so we'll do it this way. And I'll zoom in a bit so it's easier to read. And then, we'll move down the list here. And so when you're looking through the kit, there's some wordings that you need to pay attention to when you're thinking about things like war. And it literally says in war. Now, any other character, when you're talking about what their purpose is in war, will say offense or defense. And they did this with Dr. Octavius and the Sinister Six. That immediately tells me that you could definitely count on this team being another universal war team. It's about that time of the year. It's very much a cycle at this point, and you should count on that. And you need to put some serious thought on where you want this team. What kind of player are you during war? Are you more of an offensive type of player and you really want to take out those targets really, really well? Well, then you might want to move in that direction. But I'm here to tell you right now, a lot of people use Dr. Octavius, and he's damn near a one-man war machine, okay? And as we go through this kit, you'll see why Omega Red is so dangerous on defense. I'm not trying to tell you to put him on defense, but I could tell you him and the entire team are probably going to be the worst nightmare to defense since Heroes for Hire. There's so much HP, there's so much damage here, so many debilitating effects that happen. It doesn't matter where this team goes in war. They're going to be successful no matter what. So much like probably like Infinity Watch, you're going to find that you're going to be more or less inclined to do mirror matches than anything. So let's review the kit real quick. And basic carbonadium lash. Attack primary target for 320% damage. Now, when you're looking at this one also, you also have to understand that's going to be based on whatever the base damage is for this character. So when you go to your game and you look up your character, and I'll do one for one of these characters right now, and you click on that little zigzaggy, heart monitor thing, this is your base, your base things, and that's his base damage right there. You could quite literally do basic gorilla math from this point on and get a really good estimate of what your damage could be on any one moves, but don't forget to calculate in things like crit chance, crit damage, that sort of thing. And you just want to get a good idea, because honestly, just taking the character into like Blitz or something will give you the best kind of data possible. And so without knowing that, you truly don't know what his base damage is going to be. But what I can tell you is the pattern that has been holding strong right now is that everything is increased damage, way increased HP. It's almost like they're playing their own Marvel Strike Force in the real world before they put them into the game, and then we're playing that version of the character. So they're adhering to a pattern on certain increases, or what the others have called a power creep. So I would guarantee that the basic damage for a character like Omega Red being probably one of the first, I believe he is the controller type. He's probably going to be one of the higher damage characters in the game for base damage. And that 320 is going to mean a lot more than you'd think, because a lot of his moves or his entire kit is based on stealing health. If you got experience with stealing health, a great character to take note of is Yellow Jacket. When he uses his special, he does steal, but you can definitely feel a difference in the effectiveness of the steal based on his own HP. And it's going to be based on the, on that damage as well, and depending on what your ISO is, that can change dramatically. Increase the duration of bleed slow offense down on the primary target by 1. Not just this, but the entire kit for Omega Red is extremely important to me. And if you guys been watching the show, you know that I love doing one-shots, and I've been working my way through Dark Dimension 4 on perfecting one-shots all the way through, and the last node has been giving me a little bit of problem because of the focus requirements. I need to get an ability block down on a character like Jessica Jones. And so for the kind of control that I have on the battlefield for all the legendaries that I have available to me, having something that is more duration boosting is a huge move, especially since Omega Red's kit is a lot of HP stealing, and there's a lot of widespread damage in adjacency as well. So that helps me even more, because the group that I use to one-shot that last node in Dark Dimension 4 is completely controller based, and this character is going to be a monster for me, or at least I'm hoping that it will be. I believe I'm like only a hair's breadth away from doing it, but a character like Omega Red could really, really boost that through the roof. Now, if you guys are just joining, the truth about Omega Red is that it's not specifically his Weapon X and Omega Red are not specifically a Heroes for Hire counter. It can be, but they did this with Dr. Octavius, where they are a in-war team, not an in-war defense or in-war offense, and those are the wordings that you need to pay attention to when the teams are coming in. So when you're thinking about pushing hard for this character, know the type of player you are in war for your alliance. Are you more offensive or are you more defensive? And currently, we're going through the kit, and I'm telling you why it's amazing. And first and foremost, also remember we're also talking about how Omega Red is taking some of the best stuff from some of the top characters in the game and jamming it into his own kit. All right, moving on to the special Coil Crush. Energy cost 3x3. This is insanely cheap. 3 is almost the lowest that you can go. 2 obviously is the lowest that I've seen, but 3 is massive. So that means you're going to be able to see this one happen quite often, and it's a big, big move. Apply trauma, ability block to the primary target. Trauma is the negative status effect that is much like Adam Warlock's positive effect, where you'll be able to keep the positives on the team until they run out on their own. But this is for the negative statuses that are going to be applied to any team that you have out there. Yes, of course, this is going to be a really big move against a team like Heroes for Hire, but there's an on-spawn effect that could be just as effective or almost impossible to get through on defense. Imagine Omega Red putting trauma on your strong offense team in a room like security. I mean, that defense down is going nowhere. Plus, you're going to have to deal with the fact that you're going to have an ability block or a heal block on your entire team. That's huge. I mean, I'm so excited for this character. I mean, even though I'm a fan of Omega Red, his kit alone, if I didn't even know who this character was, I'd be jumping through hoops right now to get this character. Apply offensive. Okay, attack the primary target and adjacent targets for 450% damage. Steal 5% of each target's max health. Redistribute to self. Bypasses heal block. That is so nasty. That is so incredible. Imagine your experience with Dr. Octavius during war, right? How many teams have you wasted fighting that guy? I mean, sometimes you think you got it, right? And he just won't stop healing. Imagine that times like 1,000. And that's what Omega Red is right now. Again, I'm not pushing you to put him on defense because God knows I don't want to have to fight a character like this on war defense. But this character, just like Dr. Octavius and the Sinister Six, is going to be incredibly powerful as well on offense. Steal 5, bypass heal block. Bypass heal block is still pretty huge. I mean, you already know how well that's going to work. Apply offense down to the primary target and adjacent targets. That's pretty huge in and of itself, especially if you're dealing in Dark Dimension 4 in the legendary section of those nodes. Getting offense down, there's sections in, let's say, in Mission 15, where there are these offensive characters, there's these control characters, but the offensive ones are sometimes surrounded by things like Kree nobles and things like that, who increase base damage up to sky limits like 400+%, right? And so those one singular characters that you thought you could just kind of push to the side, they will take one of your characters out like that. All right, and this is going to help stop that from happening. Apply speed up to self and all Weapon X allies. Anytime you mess with speed, always going to be super dangerous. Plus, it can't be blocked. So forget you defenses like Captain America Sam with Maria Hill. That can't be blocked. Okay? This team's going to have a lot underneath its belt by way of targets. Ultimate Technical Onslaught, energy cost 3 out of 5. Flip all positive effects to negative effects for all enemies. Now, right away, who does that sound like? That's Dr. Octavius, right there. That's one of his key moves right there. And depending on what Omega Red's speed is going to be, that could possibly be a gigantic move. And if anybody's providing energy out there, good God. An amazing character. Attack the primary target for 430% damage. Apply ability block, slow, heal block, and reduce speed bar by 10%. Again, anytime you have a character that is messing with speed bar, It's one of the most powerful things that you can possibly do on the field, and it opens up many, many options for the rest of the characters that are in that squad, almost regardless of where this character goes, which increases his stock value on Theorycraft on where he can go in the game. Attack all other enemies 430% damage, apply slow, heal block, reduce speed bar by 10%. That is insane. Why is there like, oh my god, that's just for the primary target reducing speed. Now we're going to reducing speed for everybody else. Steal 10% health from all enemies, redistribute to self. This bypasses heal block. Everything about Omega Red is bypassing heal block. This attack redistributes a maximum of 50% of this character's max health. In war, apply trauma to all enemies, which is amazing, and it will happen. I mean, it's going to happen right away. So having this alt ready after an on spawn is insane. Imagine an on spawn with someone with the capability of resurrection. Bring them back, another on spawn bonus. All right, and that's going to exist here in the passive. Now in the passive, you're going to see some of the best things from other characters turn up here, just defined a little bit differently. On spawn, apply defense up for 2 turns to self and all Weapon X allies. Huge move. Doesn't matter if you're on defense or offense. On turn, heal for 20% of this character's max health and gain 10% damage up to a maximum of 30%. That's on turn. There's only like really one other character that has an on-turn manipulation like this, and that's Silver Surfer. But the Silver Surfer does it with speed. Now Omega Red is going to be doing it with damage, and depending on what his base damage comes out to be, and I guarantee you it's probably going to be really high, probably one of the top 5 at least, that's going to be huge. And to top it off, he's going to be healing with it too. On turn. And that's just 20%. That doesn't even include all the stuff that's happening in his kit. And because he's stealing health, more damage means more health steal. When this character drops below 60% health, gain speed up and 2 death proof. 60% is a really high percentage when you're talking about a triggered passive. That's really high. I mean, the only other character that kind of beats that by way of a trigger is Venom. And I believe it's like, 95% of his health. If he goes back up and he regenerates on turn, he gives defense up too to all of the symbiotes. And to do something like this, but with speed up and death proof, how frustrating is this guy going to be to take down? I mean, really. This is like a nightmare character. I mean, just alone. I'm not even talking about all of Heroes for Hire. I mean, if you guys really want to think about it, like if you've been trying to find a team, you probably already have Infinity Watch in place to take down Heroes for Hire. This is the kind of team you might want to strongly think about putting on defense. They're going to have an insane amount of HP. Probably the highest in the game. As a team. I mean, probably going to be one of the first teams to break 1 mil on HP. I mean, look at this passive right here. Gain 50% max health. Unless they give Omega Red, a mythical legendary character, a bottomed out HP pool, that is probably going to put him at 1 mil, probably at 6 red stars or more. If you got a 6 or a 7, you can guarantee you're probably going to be busting that 1 mil mark on HP. Imagine that. Extrapolate that on all his stealing. Hell, 20% of his health is going to regenerate every turn without an ISO. And that doesn't include his kit. And this passive right here with the 30% extra damage every turn. Once he's sped up to that 3rd turn, game over. While an enemy has immunity, all Weapon X allies gain 40% crit chance. This one is specifically an offensive move, I believe. Much like I believe that this on-turn heal is a defensive one, or even both of these ones are mainly like a defensive type of thing. So if you decided to move there, these are the big ones that are going to help boost your team up to and including max health. I don't include max health because that helps on both sides. So when the enemy has immunity, Weapon X allies gain 40% crit chance. That to me right there, it tells you that's all about human control of the team. It's about identifying your targets, knowing which ones have immunity or which ones are capable of having immunity, and taking full advantage of that fact. So on spawn, if this character has 3 or more Weapon X allies, lower an enemy's damage by 15%. This is one of those universal stats. That is a nightmare. Even if you can come up to this team with an extremely powerful squad, if you have a full Weapon X team, even if you have 3 or more with Omega Red here, that's a 15% drop in your team's damage. How are you going to overcome that? All right, let's look at the big ones, though. In war, fill speed bar by 15%, plus 15% speed bar per Weapon X ally. What are you going to be able to do with that? Immediately, you know for a fact, you're going right away with Omega Red. What is your turn 1 strategy at that point? What comes fully charged is the real question. And that's your Coil Crush. Apply trauma and ability block to the primary target. You can choose who gets to not do something, basically. Attack the primary target, adjacent targets for 450% damage, and you're going to steal it. The steal is probably not going to help unless you're using this team on defense, where if Weapon X destroys a team coming at them, they're going to be ready to destroy the next team head on. It's going to be ready again. So there you go with that. Bypasses heal block. So that's the one you'll be using right away. In war, on spawn, if this character has 4 or more Weapon X allies, apply trauma and heal block to all enemies. I would have to say this is probably the strongest defense move you can possibly imagine. It's clearly universal, but imagine having this team in a room like security, or an adjacent room to security, where defense down is a thing that starts off your fight. You can't get rid of that. And if you've got characters that can increase the duration of those things, that's even more detrimental to your fight. That's huge. In war, on spawn, steal 15% health from all enemies and redistribute to self and all Weapon X allies. That's clearly a defense bonus right there. It's the kind of thing that keeps the team going on more squads. It makes them a double tap at a minimum, probably a triple or a quadruple when they first come out, and you have the whole team together. In war, gain 200% focus. This pretty much guarantees everything that Omega Red can put down by way of negative statuses, regardless of his ISO, is going to land. So having a skirmisher on Omega Red will be completely useless. At 200% focus, it's just there. You're going to land whatever's coming down. So in war, Weapon X allies gain 50% health, max health. And that's going to be huge for the entire team, especially for the reworks for Sabretooth and Wolverine. They're supposed to go to the current level of the pattern of the power creep between HP and damage for any of the new characters coming into the game. And on average, you're talking about a ton of HP. I mean, Sam is a protector, but this is what he's got by way of health at 5 stars. 5 stars. I would love to see a clip of, one of you guys that have this guy at 7 at max stats. It's got to be close to popping a mill. And now you're talking about a mythical legendary coming into the game that's going to have something very similar. Let's look at the last mythical legendary, which is Adam Warlock. I have him at 6 red stars. He's maxed but 1 T4. And what we're doing here is a comparative. And obviously I have him at Skirmisher because I'm trying to use him to one-shot that last one. Now, he doesn't have his last star, but I would suspect that his health is going to look very similar to Sam's by way of health, even though he is a support character. And, he's already creeping super close to that mill mark. I guarantee you Omega Red's going to pop it at 6 or 7 red stars. I hope I'm wrong, because that just makes him even more of a nightmare to begin with. All right, let's move on to the next. See here. In war, Weapon X allies gain 15% damage. Now, that damage is already pretty high so far for this team. And Omega Red is boosting a lot of it, especially after he speeds up to turn 3. I mean, that's his major mechanic by way of damage. So everything that he does from that point on is a lot of stealing health. I would suspect if anybody uses this guy on war, he's going to be one of those guys like Dr. Octavius that's just going to last forever. He's going to be one tough character to take down at any point. I can't even think of what I could do to this guy to take him down. I mean, even when Dr. Octavius is alone, when you see one that's like 6 red stars or 7 red stars, you almost cringe at the idea. Because he will heal based on his blocks, which is actually pretty high, and that's the one thing that's missing from Omega Red here that makes him dangerous on that level, is that he doesn't have anything passively that's going to allow him, give him an increased block, and every time he blocks, he's going to heal. So, but what's almost the same is the fact that his entire kit is based on stealing health. I mean, let's just count it down, right? Here we go. Steal health on his ult. Steal 5% of each target's max health. Redistribute. Steal health on his basic. Everything steals health. So what's really going to change the idea of this character and his stock value is going to be what his base speed is. He's a controller. And they do got to bring him up to so he can meet the demand of being a mythical legendary character. And at this point in the game, he's the newest mythical legendary character. So he's going to have to have some pretty high damage and high health. This team will have the highest health. All right, let's break it down right here. How do you get him? Omega Red. Nick Fury, 5 stars. Winter Soldier, 5 stars. The 3 Secret Avengers, 5 stars. Captain America, Sam, Sharon Carter. You get these guys? Well, let's figure that out. Now, with Winter Soldier, he does have a note. So, if you get his character like I do on your roster, you should organize them just like this. Put them at the bottom of the roster list so they're easy to find, and that way you can keep track very, very effectively of each character and where you need to be when Omega Red's event comes by. So you click on the character, find his shards, and it tells you everywhere he's available. He's got a lot of different orb areas, but here's the controllable one-ish. We all know how randomness some of these pulls can actually be. But go to Heroes, 6-3, boom, boom, boom. Keep working that until you get all the stars that you need for Winter Soldier. And I do recommend just having his character on the list with the rest of these guys, because you can go right to your roster, click right on top of them, and go to whatever you need. Nick Fury. How do you get Nick Fury? Well, he is a legendary character. Not mythical legendary, because that's a different thing entirely, but he's a legendary character. Now, he's one of those characters that is available at any time that you have the requirements for his character. All you got to do is go to the events section of the game, and it should be there. Now, it's not going to show up on mine because I already have Nick Fury, but it'll show up in the events section right here, and you'll be able to, click the info. Like, I'll be able to just preview the event, go up to your top right wherever your tier is currently, and just select the marker. It'll show you all the characters that you need to have to be able to participate in the event, and it will either be lit up or grayed out depending on whether or not you meet the requirements for that given character. If you need more specifics, just hit the eye on the top right hand side. It'll tell you everything you need to know in that event. I will be going for my last star for Adam Warlock tonight, and I'll be streaming that for you guys as well. After that, I'll probably tomorrow will be my one-shot attempt at the last node to see if the current set focus that Adam Warlock has with that last star does have any effect. And generally speaking, if you look at the recommendations right here for Adam Warlock, whatever the characters are, like you just saw for Omega Red, that's the recommended stuff that you're gonna need for that in order to do it successfully. But ultimately, it's based on your gameplay. All right, Sharon Carter. She's one character that I'm relatively sure, because any of the Secret Avengers right now, they got to be placed. All right, there's usually one money one somewhere where you got to pay pretty much to get that character, but you can guarantee they're going to be placed somewhere so that you can fight for it. Have fun going after this event and trying to get these characters in place as well. I do recommend getting these characters because they do very, very well in Gym 1 in the skill section. If there was one character that I had to choose out of all three Secret Avengers to go to the raid star, it would probably be Sharon Carter, because Maria Hill and Sam seem too important to go into that star. But honestly, I could be 100% wrong. And they want people to go after Maria Hill for the survivability that it would take to get through the event with her character, but who knows? My best guess is going to be Sharon Carter going to the raid store. Where would Maria Hill go, though? Of these two, one of them is going to basically kind of be locked behind premium orbs or some kind of garbage like that. And maybe one goes to Arena or Blitz. I doubt any of these characters are going to go Blitz, because Blitz seems like an outside-the-box type of place to put certain characters. And Maria or Sam might go to a campaign, but one of them is going to be locked behind something that's going to cost money to get. That's just a guarantee. But if you're looking to pay a little bit into the game to be able to get Omega Red towards his event, there will be offers for all these characters, more than likely, all the way up to Omega Red's event. So keep on a lookout for that in the offers part of the store. You'll be able to pick those up if you want. But in either case, those three characters will be available to you in the coming weeks, so just keep on looking at those emails and making sure you know where they are. The first two, however, Winter Soldier and Nick Fury, very easy to get. All you gotta do is meet the requirements for a character like Nick Fury, participate, unlock them. And he unlocks at 3, but remember, you need 5 to get into the Omega event. And Winter Soldier has his own node in the Heroes 6-3. So you could actually double use that one for your dailies. So I highly recommend doing that if you don't have Winter Soldier already. And you got to do like 3 of those nodes anyways. So auto those all day long. Well, as many times as you prefer. And you'll be able to get Winter Soldier in no time. If you start now, you certainly will. And let's get up to his picture real quick, and we'll end the show today right there. Thank you guys for coming by and following to find out the real truth behind Omega Red is that he is not a direct Heroes for Hire counter. Remember, you already got a team in place that can do that right now, and that's Infinity Watch. There's no way they would create another team specifically for that purpose. And really, the giveaway is the fact that the wording in his kit is in war. So much like Dr. Octavius, this team will be very, very effective on both sides of the field. So whatever kind of player you are, that's where you're going to want to put this team. I foresee this team being very difficult to take down as a defense, though. Thank you for coming by and watching. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on the truth about Omega Red. Leave those in the comments below. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel over at Justice 3 Strike Force. But if you're just a streamer type, join me right here. Follow me on twitch.tv/Justice3Gaming. I do game more games than just Marvel Strike Force. This is my absolute favorite game in the world because of the strategy that's involved, and I just love talking Marvel Strike Force. And I've never really done one of these kinds of videos where I really had to kind of get ahead of some of the other guys putting out the fact that this is a hard counter to Heroes for Hire. That is not true at all. Because we don't know. And you'll never know until the team hits the field. And you shouldn't make assumptions like that ever. However, will they be able to take, out Heroes for Hire? I think there's a strong case for it. I really do. But imagine what this team is going to do on a defense. I mean, that's another strong case for this team as well. And this is right around the same time. They're trying to repeat the success of the Sinister Six and what Dr. Octavius did for them. They're very good on both sides of war. And Omega Red is that plus some. So whether you agree or disagree, let me know down in the comments below. I wish you all passion, love, and gaming. And never forget, rule number 1 of gaming is you go where the fun is. And I've certainly done that today, telling you guys the truth about Omega Red. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.